Hi, I'm Megan Kelly. I'm Assistant Editor at AMS. I'm here today with Daniel Harrison, who is our in-house automotive analyst. Daniel has compiled and analysed the results of our latest survey with ABB, a survey on the automotive manufacturing outlook for the year. And we collected the results from a global range of automotive experts, and Daniel's here to share some insights into his findings. So Daniel, do you want to tell us a bit about significant trends that you saw in the survey?
Yeah, so I think for me the main challenge that the survey highlighted was that the supply chain disruption has significantly reduced since last year. So when we surveyed the respondents about what's the main challenge that they're finding in manufacturing, I think it was 67% said supply chain disruption last year. This year it had reduced to 35% as an issue. In fact, it had just been overtaken by labour shortages and skills shortages as the dominant issue. Now, for me, that's quite a significant finding because we've seen that labour shortages and skills shortages has been creeping up as an issue over the past few years, but it's clearly been overshadowed by the dominant issue of supply chain disruption. But now that supply chain disruption has somewhat eased and mitigated this year, it's actually slightly overtaken as an issue. And for me, the reason that's happening is because as we move to more highly electronic cars with a lot of electronic content, as we move to electric vehicles, those changes mean that the skill set required in manufacturing and production lines has evolved and is gradually increasing in terms of automation skills, robotics, in terms of electric vehicle understanding, so software, IT, that sort of thing, even AI. So the skill set has fundamentally changed in the past 5 to 10 years in terms of, comparing it to the more traditional engineering skills of the past and internal combustion engines, which is more labor intensive. So that's part of it. It's also that there's competition from other industries that also want those skill sets in terms of IT skills, software skills, etc. So we're competing for those workers at the same time. So that's quite a significant finding for me. Now, supply chains as a disruption is not an issue that's going to go away, though, and I don't expect it to. I don't think anyone does. We've got the ongoing Ukraine-Russia war. We've got the Hamas-Israeli conflict, of course, more recently, and very recently the disruption in the Suez Canal and Red Sea. Now, for me, those are indicators that supply chain disruption is going to remain a top issue for the foreseeable future. It's going to be the new normal, as they say. That's not going to go away. It's not going to change significantly. So it might not be quite the dominant overriding issue that it was during COVID pandemic over the 2020 to 2022 period, but I think it's still going to be a leading issue for years to come.
Yeah, definitely. And as we move towards, the transition to EVs, electrification, what sort of trends are you seeing there in terms of the different powertrain technologies?
So again, this was very interesting. So, we've seen massive multi-billion-dollar investments in transitioning the whole industry to electric vehicles. The assumption is that we've got to build, X number of gigafactories. We've got to convert all of our plants to electric vehicles. We've got to design new electric vehicle platforms and vehicles because that's the end goal. I think what this survey highlights perfectly is that the industry experts themselves don't quite agree with that outlook. They think that there's going to be a more multivariate powertrain choice out there that the consumer may well choose or would be more suitable in different applications. So 25% of survey respondents said that pure electric vehicles would be the main powertrain choice, but 25% also said that it would be electric vehicle and fuel cell hybrid vehicles. So that's quite significant, and 23% said pure fuel cell vehicles would also be the main powertrain choice. Now, 22% I think said more advanced battery technology, so that's things like solid state batteries, lithium sulfur chemistries, those sort of more advanced technologies. And significantly again, 11% said that hydrogen combustion engines would be a significant thing. So this for me is very significant. We're seeing that the industry experts themselves think that multiple powertrain choices are the future. And we're seeing different OEMs in Germany, Honda, Japan, in Japan, and they're talking about, okay, we should consider things like fuel cell hybrids. We should also consider synthetic fuels, hydrogen combustion engines as powertrain choices, not put all of our eggs in one basket with electric vehicles. So that has really quite profound implications for investment strategies amongst OEMs, tier suppliers, and everyone within the supply chain, because if they're putting all of their investments in one basket, that's not likely to be very successful. We need to be more diversified in our investment strategy.
Yeah, definitely. I think diversity is the way to go in automotive logistics. Finally, do you have any other insights that were particularly significant, maybe in terms of production volumes and sales volumes?
Yeah, so this was a very interesting and positive aspect of the survey. So when we surveyed the respondents about the general outlook for the industry itself in terms of production and sales volumes, I think 76% believed that production volumes would increase or stay the same. Compare that with 56% in the previous survey last year. So that's a significant improvement from last year. In terms of sales, 69% thought the volumes would stay the same or increase, compared to 54% last year. Again, a significant uptick in a positive outlook there. But for me, what was most significant about that was that when we surveyed them in terms of what's holding back those volumes, what's the constraint, I think 54% said this year it's demand constraints, rather than last year when it was 57% production constraints. So that's quite a significant turnaround. And for the automotive industry, if you look back through its history, it's mainly been constrained by demand. In other words, whether consumers have got the money and the confidence to purchase them. So the COVID period, where production was the constraint on volumes, was quite unusual in that sense. So this is a return to how the industry has generally been over the last century or so. So that's quite a significant finding for me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. If you want to access the full report, you can do so via the link below, or go on AMS website for more details. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.